How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 8. Alright, it's been about a week since I last jumped into the wonderful world of Higurashi, as I decided to get sick with good old COVID. I didn't really decide to, it just kind of happened. So that kind of took me out of the game for a little bit, but we're back. I have no idea what we went through last time, other than seeing that everyone is kind of springing into action with getting ready to fight against whoever their enemy is. We know it's Takano, we know it's somebody pulling the strings behind Takano, and that's about it. But everybody is pretty much preparing for that fight, whatever plan they may go about. I think they're going to try and kill off Rika, and just, they're trying to mess with the group that is trying to show that, hey, we actually need to destroy this village before everything else kind of implodes and collects the whole world around it, or something along those lines. I think that's actually where we left off. I could be totally wrong. So bear with me, by the way. I am still kind of recovering. My voice seems to be back, kind of. I think it's a little nasally still, but it's there. So I think I'm good to record again, but you know, just bear with me as I continue to recover. The preparation for tomorrow's festival is moving right along at the Furude Shrine. Vans and pickup trucks are bringing in tents and equipment, and the village youth group and some middle-aged men are unloading them.
Rika-chama, だいぶ具合が悪いらしいね。大丈夫かいの？今日も学校休んだっちゅう聞いたんね。長引かっといいね。ああ、入江先生。リカちゃまの具合はどうですんね。
はい。ちょっとたちの悪い風邪だったようですが、峠は越していると思います。ただ、風邪は治り際が肝心です。本人たちにも、今日は治ったとはしゃがず、布団の中でおとなしくしているように注意してきたところです。
ああ、そうかそうか。さとこちゃんも一緒に風邪をひいてるんか。二人で仲良く風邪だもんで、ついつい遊んじゃうんだろうの。風邪まで一緒とは、リカちゃまとさとこちゃんは本当に仲良しだね。ああ、ちょうどいいところに。入江の先生がね、リカちゃまたち峠は越したって言うてんね。
へえ、そうかいそうかい。それはよかった。それで明日の炎演舞なんだけど、さすがに無理がねえ。
本人はやると言って聞かないんです。皆さんがやってくれと頼めば、多分喜んでやってしまうでしょう。ただ医者の立場としては、たとえ今日熱が下がっていても、明日は大役をお休みさせてあげたいところです。
困ったね。ああ、お涼さん。リカちゃまの具合ね、よくはなってきたけど、まだまだ安静なんだってよ。
そんな仕方ねえな。無理にやらせて祭りの日に倒れられた日にゃ、またお社様のたたりだなんて言われちまうんや。
いや、村のみんなも心配してるよ。また5年目のたたりもあるんじゃないかって言ってね。で、北条家の里子ちゃんとリカちゃんまだろ。物騒な想像してる連中もいるらしいんだよ。
アホらしい。リカちゃまはお社様の生まれ変わりよ。そのリカちゃまがたたりに会うときは村が滅ぶときよ。縁起でもねえこと言うんでね
え。いやはや、まったくだよな。
入江先生、二人を見舞うことはできんかいね。
しばらく遠慮してあげてください。治りかけで遊びたい盛りなんです。外部との接触があると興奮して、また床を抜け出そうとしてしまいますから。
そうかそうか。それなら無理でけんな。入江先生、あの二人を頼むな。リカちゃまだけじゃねえ。さとこちゃんも頼むんな。
Really? That's surprising. Oryo-san always acts as if she doesn't even see Sadako-chan. But she just asked me to take care of Sadako-chan too.
もちろんリカさんももちろんさとこちゃんも絶対に元気にしてみせますよ。お任せください。
Well, she's not having to put up appearances. That's like the big thing right there.
もし間違いがあったら、またお社様のたたりなんて言われちまう。ナイリエ先生、昭和も50年にもなって、人類が月にまで行っちまうような時代にもなって、まだたたりなんて。
思いますね。
ダム戦争の頃は、確かにうちらは、それを煽ったし利用もした。でもな、ダム戦争はとっくに終わっとるん。いつまでもたたられてばっかりでは、いつまでたってもダム戦争が終わらんのよ。
さとこちゃんが死ぬとダム戦争のたたりだと言われるからですか？
ダム戦争はもう終わったんよ。村の子が風邪ひいたら心配するのが年寄りの仕事だっちゅうだけやんね。
I already know what Uryo-san wants to say. I want her to actually say it, but if I made her, she might get angry. This is more than enough. When she talks about the dam conflict, she doesn't just mean the war they waged against the construction itself. She's also including how the Hojo family was ostracized after it was over. She's saying that the dam conflict is over, including everything that happened as a result of it, and that's why she told me to take care of Sadako-chan.
さとこちゃんもお見舞いの気持ちを汲み取ってくれると思いますよ。
あんないたずらぼんずに年寄りの心なんざわらわら。
Uryo-san left, laughing. Yeah, she's laughing all right. I wasn't the only one watching her leave. Kimiyoshi-san and some other elders did the same. They all understand what Uryo-san wanted to say. The dam conflict is over now.
あの元気なさとこちゃんにも熱を出させるんだから、たちの悪い風だね。入江先生、二人をよろしく頼んます。面会謝絶だからしゃあないけど、二人に年寄りがみんな心配してるから、はよう元気になると伝えてください。
ええ、二人ともきっと喜ぶと思います。
I vow to myself, Takano-san is more than likely planning something for tomorrow, taking advantage of people's belief in the curse. I can't let that happen. The curse of Yashiro-sama will end before it can happen for a fifth time. I'm sure of that. Yeah, I'm hoping for it at least. I'm not sure of anything. I'm a little hopeful. That's all. That's all I can be. Higurashi couldn't accept the 48-hour operation alone. He would need help from someone else. Higurashi called up both Kumagai and the old man for forensics and told them everything.
重ねて申し上げますが、こいつはヤバい橋になります。融資ならいいですがね、懲戒だったら退職金も吹っ飛びます。
なんだ大石、お前やばい作戦の前にはいつも隣の雀荘に部下を集めてそう脅してるそうじゃないか。いつもと変わらんのう。
ええ、そうっすよお石さん。いつものようにもっと元気に退職金が欲しいやつは10数える間に出てってくださいってやってくださいよ。そうじゃないと調子狂うっす。
いや、本当にヤバい話なんですよ、クマちゃん。その覚悟は本当にあるんですか？
試しに10数えてみればいいじゃないですか。なら今日は俺が数えるっす。退職金が欲しいやつは10数える間に退出してください。1、2、3。
ああ、わかりました。クマちゃんの覚悟はよーくわかりました。いや、しかし本当にいいんですね。
ええ、俺あの日赤坂さんの武勇伝を聞いてるうちに熱くなってきたんす。やはり刑事になったからには巨悪と戦いたい。それに 俺もやがては赤坂さんみたいに武勇伝を誇れる男になりたいんですよ。やばい橋、上等じゃないっすか。それに大石さんの提案する作戦で俺たち一度も失敗したことないです。
Oh, yeah?
だから俺、その大石さんがいけると思って誘った作戦ならビビりませんよ。
若いというのはいいの。こいつな、あの日以来赤坂君にだいぶ感化されよっての。秘密捜査や秘密事件に関わりたいと息巻いとったんじゃ。
いや若いっていいな。それでじいさまはどうします？
わしも乗るぞい。というか、そこまで言われたら会社の検視がそいつらをしょっぴけるかどうかを左右することにもなるからの。今日まで散々不養生を重ねてきた。そうそう、この老いぼれが長生きすることもないだろう。なら男に生まれたからには最後くらいでかい花を咲かせたいもんじゃい。
やれやれ、じいさまもクマちゃんもとにかく怖いもの知らずだな。だからドラが3つめくれてても強気でリーチ入っちゃうんだよな。
何言ってんすか大石さん。男なら降りられない時がある。どうせ切るならど真ん中ってのは大石さんの口癖っすよ。
違いない違いない。
わかりました。お二人の首、私が預からせてもらいます。
そうと決まればわしの方も少々準備がいる。今のメンツと機材じゃ薬物系まで調べるのは難しいからな。急いで知り合いの鑑識の中から手の空いた連中を呼びつけるか。大石、全部終わった後はちょいとでかくおごってもらうぞい。
Well, if everyone's still alive, sure.
そこは任せてください。ですが打ち明ける相手にはくれぐれも注意してくださいよ。署内にスパイ混じってるそうですから。
分かっとる。わしも伊達に人は見とらん。任せとけ。
よーし、燃えてきたっす。刑事魂本開っすよ。
It had taken Ueshi all night to come to a decision, but those two had decided immediately. He couldn't help but question himself. What if Kumagai is the traitor? What if he
で
is
は
actually a
私は
spy?
このままちょいと用事があるんで出かけます。クマちゃんはじいさまを送ってあげてください。
I'd be so sad.
今日は非番なのにすいませんでしたね。
なに構わん。久々に男の血がうずいてきよった。これほど腕の鳴る大舞台、わしの人生でもこの年になって初めてじゃわい。ビビるどころかここは楽しませてもらうぞい。
ありがとうございます。じいさま、クマちゃん。
Ueshi thanked them after seeing them off, although they couldn't hear. Ueshi stopped by a flower shop. He bought a bouquet of balloon flowers. Usually the purple ones are the most popular, and Ueshi was fond of that color. But today he didn't buy purple flowers, but got unusual white balloon flowers instead. With the bouquet in hand, he headed to the cemetery across from the flower shop. We have never seen this background here. That's nice. I mean, it's a cemetery, but it's nice for a cemetery. The date was June 18th. The real anniversary would be tomorrow, but as Ueshi had to work on Watanagashi every year, he usually commemorated it on the previous day instead. It was the day before the anniversary of the death of the old man. The one Ueshi considered a best friend, a brother, and father.
毎年毎年、私は今年こそはおやっさんの右腕を見つけ出すと誓ってますが、さっぱり見つかってません。
Ueshi spoke to the grave. He laid the bouquet of white balloon flowers down on top of it.
ですが、ようやくおやっさんの死の真相に近づく機会を得ました。ただね、それが笑っちゃうんですよ。園崎家は関係ないって言うんです。私は毎年ここにお寮のばあさんを連れてきて土下座させてやるって誓ってきたのに、 それが全くの大外れだったって言うんですよ。私はすっかり参ってしまいましてね。またおやっさんにげんこつをもらっちまいます。勝手に当たり牌を誤解してベタ折りしまくった挙句にドカンと痛い目に遭う。決めつけないできっちり手を進めてりゃでっかい手がちゃんとできてたかもしれないのにです。私は全然進歩してません。麻雀も相変わらずですよ。こんな一度思い込んだら疑うことも知らない頭の固いやつは多分バカって言われるんだろうなと思います。
Ushi already had a vague idea. The way Irie had phrased it, he could already guess. There was no dark secret behind the old man's dismemberment murder. The events that followed were separate incidents. That particular murder was an individual incident and it had nothing to do with anything else. Since the main culprit was the one or the only one who wasn't caught, Ushi needed someone to blame and the mysterious Sonozaki family was the perfect target. The drama of revenge that Ushi believed in never existed.
私は今やばい橋を渡ろうとしてます。リスクの割に大した見返りはありません。せいぜい私というバカの思い込みを解いてくれるだろう。ですがなんだかやっと私は自分ってやつを許してやれそうな気がします。
Ushi bowed deeply to the grave. And then he heard footsteps behind him. It had to be someone else who knew the old man. That person can't come on the day of Otanagashi every year either, and so they come on the day before just like Ushi does. They always bring blue... What the fuck are those? Sorry, I don't know flowers. Purple balloon flowers and those blue flowers don't go well together. That's the reason why Ushi always picks white ones. Usually the other flowers are already there by the time he arrives, but as Ushi had his secret meeting with Kumagai early this morning, he came straight to the graveyard afterward and arrived before this person did. Visiting a grave isn't a race. It's a spiritual matter. Ushi was curious about the other person who brings flowers every year, so he looked up. Oh.
これは。
Oh shit, you know what? We have not seen Shion at all this entire chapter.
皆さんもどなたかのお墓参りですかな?
Ushi stated the obvious, but from one glance he could guess everything. Upon seeing the other flowers in her arms, it all made sense.
おやおや、あんた、勤務中じゃないのかい？悪いお人だね、まったく。
Akane Sonozaki laughed as she handed a bouquet of the other flowers to her daughter, Shion. Shion, not knowing what to do, was caught between her mother and Ushi.
ほら、いつまでもお墓の前で突っ立ってんじゃないよ。そこをどき。
Ushi moved over as told and spoke.
まさか、あんたが毎年おやっさんにアジサイを？
綺麗だろ？うちの庭のやつなのさ。やっぱり6月はアジサイさね。あんたの気境も珍しいね。白いのもあるのかい？それも涼しそうで良さげだよ。
ああ、大石のおじさま、ちょっとお花いけますんで、お邪魔します。
Shio knelt down in front of the grave and got the flowers ready. She put them in the vase alongside the balloon flowers. The flowers looked beautiful in the vase together, reminding their onlookers that summer was about to start.
空前にしちゃいい取り合わせじゃないかい。白に青によく引き立て合ってるよ。
毎年私が来るとアジサイがありましたからね。青い花じゃ相性が悪いと思いまして。
なんだ、なら私たち相性はバッチリじゃないかい。
そうですね。
どうしたんです？レントゲンに妙なもんでも映ってたんですか？なんか今日は嫌に神妙で気持ち悪いですね。
Oh, do you think that might be it? Since you've been good to us, I'll bring some of whatever those are to your grave too, don't worry.
あと、うちの組の店にツケが残ってるだろう？そいつの請求書を備えに来てやるよ。
やれやれ。親子揃って口の減らない一家です。あいにくまだ当分お迎えは来ないみたいです。 定年までもうラストスパートですが、まだまだ行きますよ。
なら結構。沖宮の一市民としては公僕の頼もしい一言で安心だね。
Their conversation should have been coded in social courtesies, yet something felt a little off about it.
しかし、一つ教えちゃくれませんかね。死守同盟と現場監督のおやっさんは犬猿の仲だったはずでしょう。その二人がどうして花を備えてくれるんです？
そりゃ犬猿さね。私たちは敵同士。
そうです。こんにゃろうはとにかくムカつくじじいでしたからね。噛みついてやったし、溝落ちに肘をくれてやったし、あと車のボディを10円玉で削ってやったり。
Okay, that last part, that is fucked up. Like, irredeemable, totally unacceptable right there. Shion, the statute of limitations isn't up yet. Shion stuck out her tongue and hid behind her mother in embarrassment.
それだけ仲の悪かったシオンさんまでがどんな経緯でここへ墓参りに来てるんですか？
てか、ダム戦争はもう終わりましたし、まあ敵とはいえ、いろいろシャレにならないこともしましたしね。
なんだい、納得いかないのかい？終わった戦争さね。ラグビーだって終わったらノーサイド。敵味方なしなんだろ？そういうことさ。
Akane said said it as though it was a normal thing. But Ushi just couldn't understand. First of all, they hated each other. They spat at each other. How could they even feel like bringing flowers to his gravesite? However, Akane said that it was normal. Their moral standards weren't matching up.
私にはあんたの方が理解できないね。私の中ではダム戦争は終わったことになってんだけど、あんたの頭の中ではまだ続いてるってのかい？
まさか。ちゃんと終わってますよ。あの騒々しいスピーカーが未だ頭の中から鳴りやまないなんて冗談じゃないです。
なら、園崎家が墓参りしてもおかしいことはないだろ？ほら、どきなどきな。私もお供えを持ってきたんだから。
Akane took out a small package from her bag and put it down in front of the gravesite.
その包み、毎年見かけてましたが、中身は何なんです？
鬼ババ特製のおはぎです。酒飲みは甘いのは苦手だろうからって砂糖抜きだそうですが。
お寮のばあさんがダム監督の命日のためにおはぎを握ったとおっしゃるんですか？
毎年握って備えてるよ。あんた、毎年見てるって今言ったでしょうが。
Ushi was stunned. Oryo was the biggest hardliner in the Onigafuchi Guardians, no question about that. Ushi had believed for a long time that she was the mastermind behind the old man's murder. Because of that, he just couldn't believe that she had been making ohagi every year for his anniversary.
そんな顔しなさんな。もうさ、そういうのはおしまいにしようじゃないかい。
そういうのとは何のことですかな？
園崎家がダムの監督の墓前に花を供えちゃいけないとか、そういうのさ。もう昭和も60年になろってんだ。下手すりゃ数年もしないうちに元号も変わるかもしれない。そんな時代にまであんたは終わっちまった戦争をずるずる引きずりたいってのかい？
ご冗談を。もうあんな戦争はごめんです。平和が一番ですよ。
国にも悪いところがあった。反省が必要だね。でも私たちにも悪いところがあった。だから私たちは反省するよ。そしてそれはそれでおしまいになったなら、あとはいつまでもグダグダ言ってても仕方ないだろう。古い時代を片付けて新しい時代を作るのが若者の仕事さね。不幸な事件があってこの御人は死んじまったけど、もし生きてたなら私は一緒に酒を飲んで全部水に流したいと思ったさ。でも死んじまった。だからこの御人とはもう仲直りできない。悲しいことさ。
それが死別というもんですからね。
でもあんたは生きているじゃないかい。
そうですね。私は生きてます。あんたらも生きてます。
ならあんたともいつか仲良くできる日も来るかもしれないね。
さてどうでしょうね。
こいつを住職さんに。その後は表に車を回してきておくれ。
Akane took out an envelope from her pocket and gave it to Shion. Shion took the envelope, bowed to Ushi, and then ran off.
ダム戦争の時は小生意気なお嬢さんだと思ってましたが、いつの間にか成長されたもんです。
ダム戦争から何年経ってると思ってんだい？
She hit puberty, and we even went bra shopping together.
いつまでも戦争状態じゃ心も体も持たないよ。それだけの時間が経ってるんだ。
それだけの時間が経ったんですね。時間は若者ほど濃密で、年寄りほど希薄になる。
変わらないのは年寄りだけさ。でも時代と若者は絶えず成長してる。そしてぼんやりしてる間に私たちを追い抜いていっちまうのさ。で、私たちは隠居して若者を見守るのさ。
おつなもんですな。あの獅子骨の鬼姫、園崎茜にいつの間にか説教されるようになったんですから。
嫌だね、そんな通りな。今じゃ獅子骨のレディーで通ってるんだよ。そいつは内緒にしてくれるとありがたいね。
ダム戦争も終わったんですしね。
そうさ、もう終わったことなのさ。
The two of them watched Shion and the priest exchange words in front of the main temple building. Both were silent, but the air between them was comforting. There was no breeze, and a cabbage-white butterfly flittered around them.
勤務中だろうけどさ、どうだい一つ。ひんやり練習でも行かないかい？
今日は遠慮しましょう。私も車ですし、あなたも車じゃないんですか？
そりゃ残念だね。またの機会にしようかい。
そうですな。またの機会にしましょう。
Something that had been sitting inside Ushi for a long time had started to dissipate. Something that had coagulated? Let's go with that. Was melting away.
そろそろ戻ります。あなたもお嬢さんを待たせているでしょう。
そうさね。あんたとはいろいろあった気がするけどさ。これで一度パーッとチャラにしちゃいたいね。
そのあたりの生産会はまた後日に改めてやりましょう。いずれきっと。
Akane turned around with a big smile on her face. But all of a sudden, it changed into an impish grin.
それでね、大石の旦那。私たちのわだかまりがパーッとなくなったところでさ。昨日反則切符もらっちゃったんだけど、むしゃくしゃしてパーッと破り捨てちゃってさ。
はあ。
これもパーッとなかったことにできないかね。
ああ、そいつは最寄りの警察署へどうぞ。私に声をかけてくれりゃ順番待ちを優遇するくらいはしますよ。
チェ、サービスの悪い人だよ。
Well, you know she tried, and I guess you have to give her credit for that. Their laughter echoed under the blue sky. It's not blue. Game, this is literally a not blue sky. We've been looking at this for like 5 minutes. It's far from blue. Come on. I know I'm like recovering and everything, but I can still fucking see. Jesus.
お待たせしましたわ、野村さん。
Oh, here we go.
いえいえ、失礼しました。
At the moment, I'm talking to a woman over the phone.
その後のお加
Something
減
I
はい
never
かが
do.
ですか？ええ、万事つつがなく、明日が祭りになりますわ。そうですか。それは良かったです。明日の夜、富武兄は哀れな事故に。すべて廃棄したはずの H173 が投与された痕跡を残し、どういう形であれ、哀れな最後を遂げるでしょう。
He, he, he.
それはとても
Why
楽
was
しそう
that
な
not
幕開
voiced?
けです。
Why was that even there?
こちらではすでに議事録の捏造が終了しています。入江二佐が研究継続を求めて他国に研究を売り渡そうとして独走し始める痕跡です。富武殺しはそれに組み込まれる。そうです。理事会に対し入江機関への疑問を抱かせる最初の布石になります。そのあたりの工作はすべてこちらが受け持ちますので、どうかお任せください。
それから、例の件ですが、
もしもの時と申しますと？
いえ、富武兄が買収に応じた場合です。
富武任意の買収は作戦には含まれていないのではありませんでしたか？
いえ、だって彼は理事会の監査役です。もしこっちの味方になってくれれば、いろいろ利用できることも多いかと。
こちらの分析では、今回の作戦に富武任意が寝返ってくれてもリスクの割に得るものはありません。作戦に不安要素をわざわざ加味する必要はないのではありませんか？
おっしゃる通りですわね。失礼しました。何かに使えるかと思ったもので提案しただけです。当初の予定通りに行きます。
Oh man, so it is for sure that even if he agreed to Takano's statements that we heard about in Chapter 7 near the end, when we, saw her betraying him and all that, even if he agreed to all that, instead of, declining it like we know he's going to, no matter what, wow, he would still be injected with that shit and killed.
それがよろしいでしょう。それではまた連絡します。失礼します。
For a while, I kept holding the telephone receiver lost in thought. Then I put it down and dialed a number that I'd become very familiar with.
はい、エコノミーホテル沖宮でございます。
406号室、富武をお願いします。高野とお伝えください。
はい、今お取り次ぎしますので、少々お待ちください。
The telephone operator put me on hold, leaving behind only electronic music. I waited for about a minute and the operator came back on again.
申し訳ございません。406号室のお客様はただいま外出中でございます。お電話があった旨ご伝言いたしましょうか。
もう何度も伝言を頼んでるから結構です。富武さんはいつ外出したかわかりますか？いつ頃戻るかわかりますか？
申し訳ございません。それにつきましてはお答えできかねます。
わかりました。またかけます。
I put down the phone before the operator finished speaking. This is the third time I've tried calling him. I left a message telling him to call me back, but he hasn't. Why? Is he out taking photographs by himself? Or is he waiting for me behind the shrine where we usually meet? So is that where she's going? Maybe? It sort of seems that she really has a connection with him. And, she's disappointed that she won't be able to save him here, that it is absolutely necessary for him to die. Who would think I would actually come all the way here expecting him to be waiting for me? I'm even surprised myself. People are in the middle of setting up tomorrow's festival. Tents are being put up for food stalls, and preparations for various events are taking place. It's almost too noisy for me. What with people shouting as they work, plus the noise from the batteries for the stalls. Soon I reached the back of the shrine before realizing it. This is probably the best view of the whole village, so I've been told. This is where Jiro-san and I usually meet. Just maybe he's waiting for me here. Of course, that's just wishful thinking. God will never grant my wishes. He only has a bit of fun testing me. I look down at the village below, letting the breeze blow through my hair. He usually follows me around while he stays in Hinamizawa. He persistently asks if I want to go out to eat, go for a walk, or take some photographs with him. But he hasn't done any of that this visit. His behavior towards me has changed. Maybe it's because he heard about the horrible impression I left with the new board of directors. Maybe he thinks I'm a mad scientist because of that incident. I can feel that he's gradually losing interest in me. But I had my own complaints too. When I don't want him around, he's so persistent. But when I need him to listen to me, I can't get a hold of him. But if I did get through to him, what would I even talk about? What could I talk to him about right after talking to someone about the plan to assassinate him? Why should he even answer my call? I'm simply running wildly, and when I reach the point of no return, I'll want to be forgiven. And I want him to do that for me. Just because he always does whatever I want him to, or want him to do, and he shows up whenever I need him. Who would forgive someone like me, someone who has nowhere to go but hell? Would he forgive me out of sympathy? No way. While he'll be surprised, he'll do his job and arrest me. I am a member of the SDF, after all, so what I'm doing is committing treason. Fuck yeah. I'm gonna be committing a lot of stuff here shortly. Or at least trying to. I've been thinking about him a lot for the past few days. And just now I realized something. He's not attractive at all as a man. Well, that's fucked up. He has no sense of humor or good taste. He has nothing, absolutely nothing. Well, he has a belly. But there's nothing appealing about him. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I know a lot of people, like, you know, post high school, maybe post college, I don't know, have started to say, like, you know, gotta go for that dad bod or whatever. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? We're in our early 20s. What? Hold on. He doesn't care about my schedule. He's persistent. And when I treat him nicely because I'm in a good mood, he becomes even more persistent. There really is absolutely nothing good about him. Despite his age, he tells me things like how the last time he held a woman's hand was when he did folk dancing at some summer camp. Furthermore, he says those things to make me laugh. He's hopeless. But more than anything, I can't stand when he completely ignores my feelings. I want to be alone sometimes, but I don't want to do anything sometimes, and yet he drags me out, completely ignoring how I feel. And that's why, even when I'm exhausted or I don't feel like doing anything, I end up going with him, which makes me laugh. I always thought that just wore me out, yet I want him to drag me around. I'll probably never feel this way again, and yet he's not here. Do I really believe I don't want to spend time with him? Maybe I've just grown used to this abundant affection. When he took me out on a day I didn't want to do anything, I was in a bad mood at first, but after a while I started to feel better and found myself having a lot of fun. If he was with me now, would he take me out to photograph birds like always? Would he happily explain it all with his know-how even though I didn't ask? That'd be very boring and troublesome, but that's what I honestly want right now. Do I see my grandpa in him? I loved my grandpa. He gave me a purpose to live. I needed him. I loved Uncle Koizumi. He helped me with my dream. I needed him. After both of them died, maybe I just sought their aspects in him. Am I starving for a protector? Maybe I'm so traumatized by my parents' accident that I need to have someone nearby to watch over me at all times. Or all the time. Maybe I'm still immature. My inner child is throwing a fit because she can't put together a toy, saying that if it's going to be broken anyway, she's going to break it herself. It won't be just my problem. It will be about huge, irreversible tragedy. But that's the only way to prove the truth of my grandfather's work. That belief allowed me to prepare up to this point. In just a few days, the top members of the government will be scrutinizing my grandfather's article, and terrified by the worst-case scenario he predicted, they'll regret canceling our research and neglecting countermeasures as they pass their final resolution. That's when my grandfather's article will become truth, his great work uplifted and his name carved into the pages of history. And then he will become a god, an eternal existence. And I will reveal the god worshipped as Oyashiro-sama to the Hinamizawa syndrome, or to be that, casting them down to earth. I'm going to complete the 5th curse of Oyashiro-sama with Jiro-san's death, as well as my own. I'll become the one who curses, not the one who is cursed. I'll be in the position to test instead of being tested. I will ascend to godhood. I'm going to make the curse a reality, and I'm going to kick the god of this place off her throne. And then grandfather and I will be together forever. Gods don't get tested. Fate doesn't test gods. No grief will separate us. I will be with my grandpa forever. After that, we're going to work on our research together in that study, filled with the smell of formalin? Let's go with that. Yeah, formalin. A scene from Happier Days. Grandpa is at his desk, writing something down. I'm in a good mood, lying on my stomach on the carpet right next to him, or right behind him, while flapping my legs and humming a tune. I help him with his research by organizing his books as if I were playing with blocks. To return to those times is my only wish. Of course, if I don't go back that far, I'd want my parents to be alive too. If I could play with my grandpa's books while listening to my mother cooking in the kitchen and my father flipping through his newspaper, that would complete my happy world. It would be my ideal childhood. But that world doesn't have a door to the outside, so I can't go over to my friend's house, because if I did I go to my friend's house, wait, what? Is that a mistake? Am I losing my mind? Maybe it's a mix of both. There wouldn't be anybody there when I return, nobody, because they'd all have died in a train accident. So I don't want an outside world. I want to stay in my house with my parents and my grandfather. Well, that sucks, buddy. We can't have all these nice things, all these nice scenarios. I am a doctor after all. I can analyze myself. I know that what I'm wishing for is proof of my immaturity. But if I know that much, then why do I still long for a parental figure in Jiro-san? Even as I plan an operation which includes his death, I'm still trying to hang on to him. If I'm going to betray people so I can become a god, then I should remain a villain until my final moments. Because I'd rather be a lonely little girl than I should remain modest and humble until my final moments, Either way, if it is my way of life, nobody can criticize me for it. Because if I believe it is right, then all I can do is go on without listening to such criticism. But I still can't decide, so I want somebody to criticize me. Nobody has ever criticized my way of life. That's why I want to hear someone do it. I want someone to tell me my way of life is wrong. I want Jiro-san to tell me I've done such a stupid thing, I want him to slap me. Alright. Such masochistic desires speak a great deal as to how I'm rejecting my present self. Am I really still longing for a parent? I'm too old to call myself immature. Even if I do, nobody else will. No matter how immature I am inside, people will treat me as a grown person. They will say I possess an adult's responsibility and proper judgment, and that they've brought me this far already. Then I'll be judged before the devil. Will I still plead not to judge my immature self as a grown-up? Am I going to act that pathetically even in front of the devil? I'm already going to hell, yet I can't completely become a devil. I hate the idea of hell, yet I refuse to try and repent. My mind can only float in a lake of blood, drifting as I drown. If only Jiro-san was here. My mind would clear up as I played along with his insensitive chatter. Why isn't he around when I need him the most? This is the last chance I'll have to spend time with him. I hate how immature I am, becoming so insecure just because he isn't around. I found myself before the offertory box. I came here when the Irie Clinic's construction had ended and the research at the Irie Institute was about to begin. I remember how bravely I challenged the god of this place. I was full of hope and ambition. After going through many hardships, I finally came this far. I even vowed I would become a god. I did so in front of the god of this place. I can vaguely recall my grandfather telling me a story similar to that. That's right. It was the story of the Tower of Babel. When there was only one language in this world, all people lived in one place with one will. In a display of their authority, they started to build a tower that would reach heaven. God got angry because these people had forgotten how to show respect to him. He believed all of man gathered to commit such an affront because they all shared one language and one will. So their communion was shattered. People were thrown into disorder and they were given many different languages so they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other. And as they couldn't communicate with each other, many left, and the tower which challenged heaven fell to ruin. Something like that anyway. I'm not sure what the lesson is. but this is what my grandfather explained to me. Building a tower that reaches up to heaven is the greatest challenge for humans, but it is also a challenge to God. To challenge God was truly sinful, but as humans we couldn't help but test that untrodden peak. It's not easy to build a tower that's high enough to reach heaven. While they're building the tower, the people will fall into disharmony and lose the mutual understanding they once started with. Their united wills thrown into disarray. This applies not just to a group of people, but can be said about one person as well. No matter how solid their will, the closer they come to heaven, the more limits God imposes on man. So even iron wills are sure to waver at some point. It is just too arrogant for humans to think that they can always carry out their original intentions. That must have been what my grandfather was thinking deep down. I'm sure he lost hope many times since nobody ever recognized the value of his research. Yet he believed in himself, and he believed that someday his work would be appreciated. Maybe that was his wish, rather than reaching heaven. Grandfather realized he wouldn't be able to complete his research, and maybe he was trying to find where he could compromise. Humans can't build a tower that reaches heaven, but the story of the Tower of Babel is still around. It didn't reach heaven, but we still tell the story of the tower that challenged God. According to the story, the tower was left behind with nobody to work on it. The incomplete tower stayed in that place for a long time, never achieving its goal. But if someone were to see it, they would realize how great it was that someone accepted that challenge and praised their name. I took over the tower from my grandfather and tried to make it reach heaven, but I ended up succumbing to the same fate. And if it is going to be destroyed anyway, I will try to destroy it myself. What am I doing? Anyway, if I hadn't tried to continue grandfather's research, his work on Hinamizawa syndrome would have remained forever. Even if it was an empty tower that nobody ever visited, if somebody did come by, they would praise whoever attempted that challenge. They would have praised my grandfather. But I took over his work, and I built the tower even closer to heaven, which made God angry, and the tower is now going to be destroyed. The tower will become a pile of rubble. When the Idia Institute is shut down, all of its records will be destroyed. My grandfather's wish for his work to be appreciated by someone will never be granted. I tried to make my grandfather an eternal existence, yet I ended up making that an impossibility. How can I call myself Mio Takano? Instead of inheriting the 1, 2, 3 from my grandfather and continuing the count to 3 to 4, I reduced it all to 0. If it wasn't for me, my grandfather's work would have remained an empty tower. It would have stayed in this world forever. But I ruined it. I did that. I can feel myself sweating. The sweat reminds me that I've done something inexorable. When did I make a mistake? Where did I go wrong? It wasn't when I came here. It was before that. I started to walk down the wrong path long before that. If I put myself in my grandfather's spot, I know. My grandfather was working on a great challenge. He built a mighty tower. And it was supposed to continue to stand there and wait for someone to appreciate it. Grandfather definitely said he wanted his work to be valued by someone even after his death. But I misunderstood. Somewhere along the way, I made a wrong turn. I misinterpreted grandfather's wish and I ruined it. I ruined everything. I tried to make him an eternal existence, yet I destroyed him. Grandfather built an eternal tower, yet I razed it. Where did I make a mistake? What went wrong? It's obvious. My grandfather counted to 3, and with that it was complete. I simply tried to do more with addition and everything collapsed, and now all of it is ruined. I shouldn't have tried to count to 4. I shouldn't have done anything. Besides, grandfather didn't even ask me to continue his research. A little girl shouldn't play in this dark study. Go outside and play with your friends. I remember my grandfather telling me things like that, but I refused and I stayed in the study so I could help him. And eventually he stopped telling me to play outside and just enjoyed having my company while he worked. But when we first met, he used to say things like that. Then what? Living with Grandpa was the first mistake I made? Then what? When I escaped the orphanage, I shouldn't have called Grandpa? I shouldn't have found a 10-yen coin? I shouldn't have asked Grandpa to help me? Ah, now I remember. I know where I belong. Oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? What's happening? A noise of something metal striking something else is getting closer. It's getting closer and closer. I'm not allowed to fall asleep. I wasn't asleep, I just had my eyes closed, that's all. Sorry. What's happening here? Yeah, so are we in the orphanage? Did we come back to the orphanage? What's going on here? Oh, this is lovely. Don't kick, don't kick. I'm afraid of the metal sound. Please don't kick it. I'm not being kicked, but the noise is kicking me. So please don't kick the metal fence, please. My body is getting cracked. I think my body is getting cracked. All the dirty, itchy, and painful things soaked into those cracks, and the filth and prickling feel horrible. It's soaking into my chest, gathering together. I desperately try to resist so that it won't touch my heart. But the dirtiness and itching draw together more and more. My whole chest is soaked, and soon enough my face will be swallowed. Even drowning in this dirtiness and itching, I try desperately to hold my breath so that at least my heart won't be soaked with it. Yeah, I have no idea what's even being said here. People said that all these X's are basically like words, names, terms that were forcibly forgotten by Takano. I can't hold my breath any longer. I drown in an ocean of muck. And yet, as I'm taking on the muck, my heart desperately struggles not to be tainted by it. Oh, excuse me, to rise above it until my heart, too, sinks into the sea of grime. Only creatures that have lived on land will gasp and suffer the pain of drowning as they long to return to dry land. Creatures that have always lived in the ocean never drown. Grandpa won't come help me. That is the best thing for me and him both. I am whatever the fuck that is. See? When I stop struggling, there is no more noise. I don't have to hear that scary metal noise. Is it a roar or a yell? I needed to borrow strength to scream in order to come back to the present world. My body is all sweaty. It feels dirty, itchy, and painful. It reminds me of that day. I can feel welts coming on as the sweat crawls down my skin. No, it's just a delusion. It can't be itchy, because all of that is long over. I take a bath every day, I scrub my body until it turns raw and red. Alright. So not even the slightest drop of that horrible filth could possibly remain. I can't help it. I remember the filth. I can only get rid of it by scratching my arm so hard it leaves marks. I can't get rid of the itching. I can't get rid of the filth. Of course I can't. I am a filthy existence. Grandpa should never have saved someone like me. Meeting me made him unhappy. I shouldn't have existed. I shouldn't have been born. I should have stayed inside that metal fence and spent my whole life there. I need to go back inside it. I should have never left. That place is where I belong. Corner me with that horrible metal noise. Crush me with that filth, itchiness, and pain. And then kill me. So that I'll never meet Grandpa. Alright. Is that your wish? Yes, much like those left behind at the top of Babel's crumbling tower, or Icarus, unable to reach heaven, only to fall, and that is my final wish. Bring me back inside that metal fence, and give me back the fate that's suitable for my filthy existence. The wish of a liar will never come true. But I'm not a liar. You have spoken your true wish once, yet you have yet to realize that's your greatest wish. And I cannot grant that wish just yet. Are you saying that's the punishment we sinful humans face for challenging God? You should already know. The strength of your desire is what creates the future. You lack that strength. I Are you saying I haven't tainted myself enough? Will even the gates of hell remain shut for someone not fully committed like me? Guys, I have no idea what the fuck is happening anymore. I have absolutely no idea what's even been talked about. Are we done following Takano?
リカさん
I think we are.
さとこちゃん
I'm kind of glad. I'm ready to end this episode. Recorded like 25 minutes more than I actually wanted to, but I felt up to it. And now I kind of regret it. That was a lot of weird shit. Not really sure what I can take from all of that, but if anything, we can definitely assume that Takano is a mess. And it humanizes her more. I think that this chapter has done a good job of showing that the monster that we have come to recognize in Chapter 7 isn't that much of a monster. Her actions are definitely evil, but is she really evil? No, I don't think so. I think the more of this weird-ass, wacky-ass, hard-to-understand shit that we see from her really just validates that, yeah, she is just human. Just a very fucked up human. I don't know. That's what I can take from all that. Other than that, Anyways, thank you all for watching this episode. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. Sorry again for my nasally voice and any mistakes that I made in this episode. I will continue to do my best to get better, and hopefully I am my normal self very soon. Take it easy, guys.